Hello, I am so excited to be here making this video because I have some exciting news. I finally have my course. My course is finished and it's finally out and on my website, so I wanted to just make this little free video kind of explaining what it is and what it will look like. So the course is titled, basically it's a how-to of shifting from your brain into your heart. I know I talk about this all the time in my videos. My guides bring forward those downloads all the time. So I'm so grateful and excited to finally have it written out in a course format so that you can all use it and see it at your own pace. So what is really happening right now and why I made this course is because it's easily, when you shift into your heart, I know how beneficial this is, and I'll kind of talk about where this society is going right now. But when you shift into your heart, you shift out of a duality consciousness of the brain and into a unity consciousness of the heart. So you'll live, love, and begin creating from the heart, which will, by that process, it will ascend you into higher levels of consciousness. You'll easily create the life that you want to live in alignment with your divine purpose, and you'll live from a space of just unconditional peace, ease, bliss, and respect for all of life. So the good, the bad, the ugly, it's all love. And you'll really start seeing everything from that perspective. So in this course, I've basically taken all of my self-taught studies along with tips and studies and tricks from my spiritual mentors that I trust more than anything. And I've combined them all. And I basically just get straight to the point of why you want to live in your heart, how to move into the heart. And it's all on a virtual platform. And you go through chapter modules, and it's basically a video format where I'm talking like this and I'm teaching, and there's also notes you can either print out and follow along or take your own notes with, or just read the notes below as you watch the videos. It really won't take that long, but you will go through this at your own pace. So I'm not there walking you through it every step of the way. It's already completely pre-made, but included with the purchase of the course is 2 free 30-minute office hours with me where you can ask any question, or I can help you kind of go through the steps and explain further about the details, because it is a lot of very beneficial information, but it's really not that hard. It's just I finally narrowed everything down that helps you get into your heart into one course. So it's very doable. You can go as slow as you'd like or as fast as you'd like through the course. I will have a private Facebook forum where all my students from this course can join, because for my other classes I teach, that is so beneficial. So you'll still be in a community format, sharing your perspectives and tips or techniques that you may have, or any questions that fellow students may have for each other. So that's going to be a very fun offering. I'm so excited for this. And so the topics in the course, I go over grounding, I go over what unity versus, or duality versus unity is. I introduce you to your prana tube and pranic breathing and how to kind of breathe prana into your heart. I introduce you and connect you with the 4 high vibrating emotions of the heart. I connect you with the heart of Mother Earth, the heart of Father Sun, and then the heart of yourself. And then it ends with a guided meditation where I guide you to physically shift your consciousness down into your heart. So it takes practice, but it is very doable. And you finally have this course format, which I'm so excited for. So why is this course beneficial? I'm kind of just going to go over that information. So right now, humanity as a collective, we are in the process of birthing something new. And it is time to birth something new. A lot of you are probably feeling this, but that can seem overwhelming. And where do you start? So I know how beneficial it is to shift you down into your heart so that you can begin creating from that heart space. We were all born to love, not to hate. The hate was something that was fed to us, programming. So you're going to hear me talk about programming. So we've been fed this programming from a very young age. And some of this programming or thoughts that were fed to us or beliefs may have not been for the highest good of us. And so we kind of forgot how to live in our hearts, and we ate up all of that programming, and that shifted us back into our brains. So we're all born into our hearts. We're all born to love. But when you're fed this programming over a certain amount of time, it can shift you back up to your brain. And so all I'm doing is helping you remember how to shift back down and connect with that heart again. So for a little background, our planet Earth, used to be in a fifth dimensional or a higher dimensional reality where every single being was living in their hearts. In the ancient Egyptian days and Atlantis, Lemuria, all of those ancient Aztec lifetimes you've probably heard or studied about, all beings were living in their hearts. And slowly, for multiple reasons that we don't really have to focus or get into, we started coming into touch with programming that happened to be lower vibrating, and over thousands and thousands and thousands of years of the humanity or collective eating up this programming, it eventually led us to descend back into this third dimensional reality that we're currently living in, which is also known as descending from our hearts back into our brains. So again, we're just the process that's happening right now, this awakening, this golden age of miracles that you may have heard about, whatever word or phrase you like to use for that. What's truly happening is we're just moving back from our brains back into our hearts. So let's just look at it like that. That makes it kind of understandable. So all of the ascended masters that you have heard about, like Jesus, Buddha, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Isis, Hathor, there's so many. I can think of about 32. They all came to Earth, and what they did here is they quickly ascended back from their brains into their hearts. And basically their main purpose of being here was showing individuals how they can use their hearts to create the reality and to ascend just like they were. None of them wanted to be worshipped or put up on these huge pedestals. They were here to show us that we have just as equal amount of power as they do and the ability to ascend like they do. And that every single person here is equally powerful, and that the Ascended Masters were just really good at it. But luckily now, in today's age, there's so many light workers like myself who are aware of this information and have the ability to share the same amount of information that it will be very beneficial through this time. So also Earth, our Mother Earth, this planet is already currently anchored in this higher dimension, and she's bringing along every single one of us with her. So we physically cannot ascend without her. We are connected to her on a molecular level. She just kind of got there first. So from one perspective, you can just say we're kind of playing a game of catch up, but we have our free will to work with this ascension process, to work or choose to live within our hearts. We can either work with it and become very awake to what is truly happening on this planet right now as we all begin to expand and tap into more and more of our gifts, or we can refuse and kind of push against it. Either's fine, but when you kind of push against the laws of nature or the natural process that our bodies are asking us to go through, that can cause pain and hardships. So it's way easier, way more fun to work with the natural flow, the universal laws of ascension. It's happening whether we like it or not, whether we know it or not. So once you start coming in touch with it and choosing to work alongside it and work in the flow of this, it becomes a lot easier, and it's so fun. But every single one of us are going to ascend, are going to get there. It's just some are going to have their own process and their own timeline for that. So right now it's really important, and it's a very strong time to begin purging all of these programs that we've been fed and to show the world, especially for light workers or way showers or those who begin tapping into this. It's truly a time to show the world that this can be done, and to start leading by example, by fully embodying our higher self in every now moment, or a higher version of us. When you begin connecting with your heart, it basically just makes that expansion within you, that anchoring of your higher self, much easier, much more fluid. And it's so fun. I'll just keep saying that. This is not something that you have to take too seriously, because the heart works with emotions and images. It bypasses all logic of the brain. The brain needs to understand exactly how everything is happening. And we're moving into a world where we don't need to know that anymore. So we can just shift into the heart and not even have to understand how we're releasing all of this programming or the logic behind everything happening. The heart just knows that when you're in the heart, you just know that you're in the timeline of the highest good for all. So you don't have to understand exactly what's happening. You just have to understand that you're living it from a space of unconditional love and creativity and intuition. This is the right brain, the divine feminine that's kind of stepping in right now. It's just bypassing all logic. So when you align with your heart, you do align with your divine purpose, and you begin connecting with the frequencies of your heart. So I help kind of give you direct access to the main 4 frequencies that are very beneficial for connecting with your heart. as well as the how-tos of physically shifting our consciousness down into our heart. So from one perspective, I'm just helping move you back to your natural state of being and to help you find yourself again. So remember, you're not learning all of this information, you're just remembering it. You've done this many times in many lifetimes. It's just now in this lifetime, now's the time to remember again. So I'm here to show you that working from your heart and ascending and expanding to become this higher version of yourself is very natural. It's very normal. We've been doing it for millions of years. It's just the majority of us forgot how to, and that's all. We forgot. So once we start repeating these patterns and anchoring new versions of ourselves into our day-to-day lives, it will become much more natural and normal. It will start becoming the collective norm rather than looking at it as something new and crazy or whatever you want to look at it like. This is supposed to be the norm, and it's slowly getting there, which is so exciting. So it's super awesome to be human. There are so many things in this world, so much light that can still shine through all of this chaos that's going on out there. So let's just start choosing to focus on that. Start focusing on bettering humanity. Start focusing on expanding as one rather than against one another. So really begin to trust and love yourself enough to let go of this old conditioning and old programming. So we have so much programming, whether we're aware of the programming or not. Some of the deepest rooted programming is things that we're not aware of, that we just think is so normal, so natural, that we don't look at it as programming. So when you shift into the heart again, it's going to help you bypass the logic of needing to understand that, and it's just going to help shed all those layers more and more off of you. To repeat old patterns instead of searching deep within yourself for something new is very easy. It's much easier to kind of just repeat old patterns that we've gone through and to think that's normal instead of searching for something new or searching deeper inside of yourself. So if you're asking, why should I do this? Like, what is beneficial for this? This is your why, because it's happening whether you like it or not. I'm here to give you your why, basically, and to remind you of the bigger picture of how supported you're going to be through this process. But it's happening, and it's now time to step into work and co-creation with the flow of what's happening on this planet rather than push against it. So why not experiment with this magic? So our eyes, our current eyeballs right here, they see with our brains, so they only see the surface level of things. So when we will begin to physically see out of our hearts. You'll begin to see through or between the lines of all of this surface level information around us. So this is how, when people shift into their hearts, this is how you can open up to new dimensions, how you speak with your spirit guides, how I speak with my guides, how I see the astral realm and all beings that are residing there, how you speak with your higher self, or how you see deeper internally inside of you. There's no limits once you're inside of the heart. And it happens simultaneously. So while I'm working with individuals or clients who happen to not be in their hearts, that's how I'm seeing beings at the same time that they're sitting there, but not seeing them. It's just a different shift of consciousness. And it's easy and it's fun and it opens you up to an entire new world. That doesn't even do it justice for how there's no limits once you're working within the heart. So that's a very beneficial part of this. Unity is a part I talk about. So unity is what happens when you move into your heart, and unity consciousness is when you begin to look at this entire reality from the same level of compassion, gratitude, excitement. It means that you start seeing everything is perfect exactly how it is. That's truly what compassion means, is it's not just love. It means you're even loving the denser parts. I don't like using the word negative. Being in the heart, there's no negative. It's all love. And you'll begin to love everything. That's what unity is. Because you're releasing all judgment. You start treating every level of emotion with the same level of compassion and respect and understanding. And it truly helps you to begin to step back and observe situations around you rather than react. You really come from a third person view of just watching how situations are going around you or watching how you may react to a situation. So never try to push away or block out any fear or judgment about this. Fear and judgment are just doing their job. They're stepping forward into your system to show you or teach you a lesson, and you have the choice of how you want to handle that. And that's what being human is. That's very natural. So this is not all rainbows and butterflies. It's just looking at things from a much higher perspective when you shift into the heart. So in reality, we can have all of our feelings that we want about this. current lifetime. You're supposed to have all of your feelings. But I've heard the saying, feelings are not meant to be fixed. They're meant to be felt. So we're not trying to fix anything. We're just observing and feeling them. So once we get over the hurdle of reacting, we start observing and responding accordingly to our situations. And we'll begin to realize that we're actually some pretty badass human beings. And as humans, we have this ability to carry this darkness, this burden, and still choose to tap into the light at the same time, still choose to put a smile on our face and get the job done, even though we're carrying all this darkness. My guides every single day are just in awe of us, of all of us, for how strong humanity is. We just don't realize. We think it's normal. That's another programming. We think it's normal to have all this darkness going on and still be able to live a happy life. That's very doable. But for a lot of beings who don't live on this earth, that is unfathomable to them. They do not understand how we have the ability to do that, how strong we are. And they're confused as how we don't see that in ourselves. We don't see how strong we are. They always, always, always say, if you could see yourself the way that we see you, you would not be as hard on yourself as you are being. So always remember that. Your guides are constantly trying to tell you that from so many angles, but that's the main message is why, like, we are in awe of you. Why would you be hard on yourself? You're carrying all this darkness. You're in this world that is going through a war on many different levels. Many different dimensional wars are currently happening. And some of us are still living awesome lives. We can do both. So when you start tapping into your heart, it's going to make that much more normal and start spreading out and getting rid of that darkness. It's just going to be natural because you're not focusing on it anymore. So the shift will start happening faster and easier the more that you're in your heart and the more that you're able to handle emotions a little smoother. And eventually those emotions, like I said, will just stop popping up less, those denser emotions, because the universe or those emotions will see that you don't need them to teach you a lesson anymore, basically. You've learned your lesson, you're in your heart, you've bypassed the bypassed the need to understand that, and you're just living in this unity consciousness that doesn't need the lessons of the denser emotions. So another very beneficial reason for living in your heart is that it is a very natural process that we're going through. So it's not going to push against nature, which I know I've said, but that's a huge part. This is very natural, very normal. It's just kind of time to start working with it. So life right now is offering us a beautiful opportunity to show how much love this world has to offer us. And it's going to help us release with confidence all of that programming that no longer serves us. So please begin to really honor your experience, honor your life. This is called participating in walking the way, or participating in your ascension, or co-creation, or walking the beauty way. There's so many terms, but truly being in co-creation for living the life that you want to live. This reality is so malleable. We're just not aware of that. So you're going to start tapping into more and more of how malleable this world is and how you can create so much that you didn't realize you could. We are creator beings. We are meant to create the life we want to live. We already are. Just when we live in our brains, it gives us the good and the bad, because duality is good and bad. So I teach a lot about that in my course. So you have the decision to participate actively and to choose your path and be honest with your heartfelt thoughts and to honor your life experience. That's your free will choice. So you'll begin to live from only compassion, which means you'll stay in the heart more and more. You'll acknowledge your mind and your thought without judgment or attachment of what's happening. And you'll hold the feeling of the possibility of a greater outcome. So this will help you kind of transcend past the judgment, because compassion is the key to brain-heart coherence. So we're not getting rid of the brain. We're just kind of telling the brain to quiet down, because the heart's in charge now. And the brain loves that. The brain loves to be relaxed. It just kind of thinks right now, because our bodies, our internal structure thinks that we have to constantly fight against what's on the outside, and we don't. You just have to be in the heart, and it's going to really get true, strong brain-heart coherence. So also what's happening right now as a collective, we are currently balancing our male and female ways. Each one of us has male and female aspects within us. So a huge part of this journey is balancing that female intuition and creativity with our male strength and our male will to get the job done, basically. So that's a very beneficial part of this. So as you begin to strengthen your intuition, you'll begin to listen deeply into your inner guidance, into your inner gut instincts more and more. That's the part of you that always seems very confident in what it's doing. Even if your brain isn't, your heart will constantly be confident, because when you're in your heart, everything around you is meant to happen perfectly. Everything around you is for the highest good of all. So you'll just begin to stop looking at things like challenges or negative things. You'll be looking at it like, yes, I get to step over this little hurdle that was placed in front of me because I know it's here for my highest good, because I'm in my heart. So there's no other option. There's no other option. The heart is such a strong boundary of I'm only love, that it changes it puts you in the timeline of only love. So it's simply just trusting that divinity and that pure nature of yourself to unfold the best experiences for the highest good of all for you. And you just get to kind of sit back and just handle the present moment with your emotions and with your physical and mental body. Whatever the situations are, you're in your heart. So you just kind of handle the present moment, each and now moment. So you just begin to really trust yourself and believe in yourself and believe that this is actually truly happening. And it really sobers you or clears you up to see things aligning in your physical life once you begin to shift into your heart. So we're choosing right now as a collective to no longer partake in this divided love versus hate. Moving into your heart is a huge part of this. And so always remember that every single one of us on this entire planet are connected. We are one, and we're connected by our hearts. We have source energy within each of our hearts. We have the same source energy. So we physically are connected on a molecular level. And you'll begin to understand that what is inside of our heart is the entire galaxy. The entire galaxy is inside of our hearts. So it's really, really beneficial to start searching on, when you hear search inside yourself, this is what that means. I'm kind of just showing you, no, physically it's inside of you. Source energy chose to put the key to the universe inside of our hearts, and you can find it there. That's why they say stop searching on the outside. Don't search outside of yourself. Start searching on the inside. Connect to yourself. Here's the answer. Here's what that means. So never compare your journey to anyone else's, please. Some are simply learning techniques or on a different journey for a reason. You'll also begin to see that. So never judge yourself, never judge another person. Allow everyone to have their own truth, because to those individuals, what they're living through is their truth, and you have no right to disrespect that. All you can do is respect your own truth. So all that matters is that we remember who we truly are, and we begin to create from this unique and beautiful light by being centered in our hearts. So I hope that kind of clarified, gave you some more information on my course. I'll put the link below, or feel free to check it out on my website, joannastephensenlightenment.com, under the courses tab. Reach out with any questions, and hopefully if you're being drawn to this, you'll trust your intuition and your guidance to step into this course and to trust your higher self and just get excited. Remember to really come to this course with excitement and love and joy and an inner child. Just, yes, I'm ready for this. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for listening. So grateful, very excited this is finally out there for you all. And there will be definitely more courses coming soon in the future too. So stay tuned. See you soon. Love you. Bye.